everyone to another tutorial by Nidacy for creating custom armors for Skyrim. Today we're actually going to go ahead and get our folder structure set up to begin working on brand new custom armors and start diving into 3ds Max and designing brand new, never before seen custom armors for Skyrim. So in order to do this, first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to work with our custom armors, our brand new custom armors in the Daedric folder using the Daedric torso. This way you don't have to overwrite your hide, and there's not a whole lot of mods for Daedric, so I've always used the Daedric armor to test. It's just a good habit to have because not a lot of people use it, and it's pretty late on in the game. So it's just a good armor to work with. Not actually working with the armor, but we're going to use its file to test the armor. Remember how we changed the hide armor, the way it looked? We're just going to be changing the way the Daedric armor looks without actually using anything in the Daedric armor. So it'll be completely custom armor, but it'll, when you equip Daedric in game, you'll see your custom armor to test it. It's just for testing purposes. We'll move it later. So in order to get that set up, the first thing we want to do is in our data shortcut that we created in a previous tutorial, go ahead and double click that. This is the Skyrim data folder. We're going to go to double click meshes, and you're going to right click, double click armor, and you're going to right click in here, and you're going to create a folder, and you're going to call it Daedric. So I already have mine right here, as you can see on my screen. So just right click, go to new folder, and type in Daedric and press enter. I'm not going to do that because I already have one made, so I'm just going to delete this. Alright, as soon as you have that Daedric folder, you can go ahead and double click it and see. Here's all my Daedric files. You should probably have nothing in here. If you do, if you do, you might want to copy over it and drop it onto your desktop or in a new folder so you don't overwrite the stuff, because you might have a custom mod or something and you don't want to ruin that mod. So I'd pull it out and set it off to the side. Also, I want you to go back one folder, so you can click on this little arrow here to go back to the armor folder. I want you to right click on Daedric and click create shortcut. Alright, we're going to drag this shortcut onto our desktop. Just like we did with the female armor, we're now doing that with the Daedric armor, and you can set it next to your female hide shortcut. So now we have our Daedric folder to work with armors. Now what I want you to do is we're going to copy the actual Daedric vanilla version into that folder, and to do that, actually we don't even have to worry about that, so never mind. What I want you to do is also now we're going to go into our UMP custom armors folder, double click that, go to data, meshes, armor, right click, select create new folder, and type Daedric, Daedric. Okay, this is so we can work with the Daedric armor. Double click in Daedric, and I want you to create a new folder, and I want you to type test1. Remember this process? We're doing the same exact thing as we did before. Now we need to get the Daedric file name in here. That's really all we want is the file name. So we're just actually going to go ahead and double click on Skyrim mesh, move it off to the right, or left, sorry. Double click meshes, armor, find your Daedric folder, double click Daedric. Alright, what I want you to do is select your Daedric torso female, there'll be an F on the end, and I want you to hit control and select your other Daedric torso female one. Now I want you to control C to copy them, and then hit control V in your UMP custom armors. Now go into test 1 and hit control V again. This is so we have the file name and we don't have to try to figure out what the file name was for Daedric armor. As soon as you're done doing that, just go ahead and close both of these out and go ahead and double click and start up your Autodesk 3ds Max. Alright, now that we're in 3ds Max, first thing we want to do is import the female body so we have a mesh to work around and mold to. So click on the 3ds symbol in the upper left hand corner, then select import. Browse to your UMP custom armors folder, double click data, meshes, base body mesh, female body _0, and select open. Make sure your settings are identical to mine, and we don't have a skeleton, so we want to import the skeleton. as soon as that's imported, we're ready to go ahead and start molding armor. To start out, first let's go ahead and let's hide the skeleton so we don't screw anything up there while we're working with the armor. So just click on the body, or click off to the side to deselect all, and select the body, right click on it, and click hide unselected. This will hide everything we don't have selected, which is of course the bones. Now we're going to right click on the UMP body, and we're going to freeze it so we don't screw it up while we're playing with the polygons. So freeze selection. Alright, next thing I want to do is we want to go ahead and move the view pane over a little bit so we have a better view of our top and left panes, and we still want a little view of our perspective and kind of have it set up slightly in front, kind of like I do here. Now in your top view pane, you want to zoom out a little bit and then move it to where you can see slightly in front of the body. Alright, and in the left view pane, you want to kind of move out a bit to where you can see the whole body but slightly in front of the body, kind of like I have set up here. It's just positioning the body so we can work with a polygon shape that's going to make it easier to create a bra and an undergarment. Alright, well, the undergarment, we're going to use one method of armor creation, and for the bra we're going to use a different type of method for armor creation. Now we're starting with undergarments because they're very easy to make, and before we move into stuff like breastplates and bracers and stuff around arms, or major armor pieces, first we're going to start out with the simple stuff, just clothing. Alright, this is a building block. I mean, you move from one point and you go to another. We're going to get into the really cool stuff later, but this stuff we're about to learn is actually really cool. How I'm creating the bra right now is the same way that you could create a plate for a chest. It's kind of the same concept. So you learn how to do this, you'll learn how to do a lot and create a lot. Alright, so now the body's in position. We have some room where you can see in front of it in the top. We have some room we can see in front of it in the left pane, and we're looking at it in front of it in the perspective window. These three views are going to help us decide how to make our initial shape. Okay, for the initial shape, we're going to go to the Create tab. You're going to want the geometry shapes, and we're going to select cylinder. Cylinder is a very, very commonly used shape for creating armor because it's just so easy to work with and allows you to set so many things up. Now in the perimeter section, for height segments, you're going to want to leave that at 5, and for cap segments, 2 is fine. So just if you're not at 2, you'll probably have a 1 here. Just hit your up arrow once, or just grab it, mouse over it, and type 2. As soon as you have this set height segments to 5 and cap to 2, we're going to go ahead and create the shape. Now to start the shape, you can right click in your top frame to have it selected. Just slightly in front of the body, we want to kind of create the shape to be about as big as these hips here. Okay, we're going to be moving it up to the breasts and then shrinking it down, but for now, select kind of center on this black line, as center to the body as you can. And then while holding down the left mouse key, just drag out. Okay, make it a decent size, so it's something that'll fit over the middle part of the body. As soon as you've made it the width that you want it, if you release, it's still not created, but if you move your mouse, you see how it's scaling, or it'll go down. I want to move it up, so move your mouse either up or down, dependent on your 3ds Max. Should be, if you move your mouse up, it'll move the little cylinder up. If you look in the perspective window, don't click anything yet, look in the perspective window, you can kind of shape how wide it is. You can also look in the left view pane and kind of size it and eye it to be about as tall as it would need to be to cover the boobs. That looks about tall enough right there. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on my screen again, and that'll finalize it. It always takes 2 clicks to create a cylinder. One creates, the first click that you hold down creates the width, and then when you release that click and move your mouse, it creates the height, and then you click again, and that'll actually create the cylinder for the width and the height that you've decided on. Alright, now that we have the cylinder created, we can go ahead and in the top view pane, go ahead and zoom in on that cylinder. Alright, we want to get rid of these center polygons because if you look in the perspective, that's just a solid top. Well, we want this to be hollow so it can go, the body can go in it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to right click on the screen, because if you look over here, cylinder is still selected. If we start doing stuff, we'll create another cylinder. So right click in your top window, that'll get rid of the cylinder. It's no longer highlighted. You could have also just selected create or something. Now with the cylinder that we just created selected, go to the modify pane, and what we're going to do is in the top perspective window, we're going to right click on this. We're going to go down to convert to, and we're going to set to convert to editable poly. Alright, now that it's a polygon, we can play with it. Go over here into selection. You'll see it's an editable poly now. Go to selection and go ahead and click polygon. Alright, each of these squares right here and each of these triangles, these are all polygons. Alright, we want to select all these ones in the middle. So find somewhere over here in the upper left hand corner of the inner circle and click and then drag your mouse over and it'll select all the polygons in the circle. Alternatively, you can select one, then hold down control and select all of them, and that'll take forever. So instead of doing that, just click and drag over and they're all selected. Now they're also, because I clicked and I dragged to select them, they're also, take a look here in my perspective, they're also selected on the bottom. So I don't have to select all the ones on the bottom, because remember, it's not only solid on the top, it's also solid on the bottom. This is a cylinder. So now we want to go ahead and get rid of that inner circle. So to do that, you just hit delete. And bam, now we have a hollow circle. Take a look in the perspective window at my circle. It's hollow. But if you look, the thickness, it's way too thick. So let's go ahead and fix that. We can go ahead, we're done with the top view pane because we made it hollow, so we're just going to, in here in the middle plus symbol, we're just going to rescale our windows to give us a better look at the left and the perspective. Alright, actually we're not done with the top window, I'm sorry. Move that back over, get in the top window, and in selection, we're going to select vertex, and you're going to find somewhere in the upper left hand corner, we want to select all the vertexes in the middle circle. We don't want to select anything on the outside circle, just the ones in the middle. And click up here and try to drag your mouse over to where it will highlight all of those. When you release, all the ones in the middle should be red, but all the ones on the outside should still be blue. Now just like with the polygons when we selected them using the selection tool, all the polygons on the bottom are also selected in the inner circle. But always do that from the top view frame. That way you don't actually select something kind of on the side because you're trying to do it at an angle. In the top, you're up and down. You're not at an angle, so you might actually click something on the outside. Alright, now that we have all the inner ones selected, you can go ahead and resize your windows to get a better view here. And in the realistic pane, we're going to go ahead and shrink this out using the scale tool. So you're going to right click in here and then select my scale tool. Alright, now that I have my scale tool out, well, I want to shrink it on X, Y, and Z. I want them all to kind of move together. Well, technically just the X and Y plane will work. Should work, yeah. So just use the X and Y plane, scale it out, and kind of eye it and say, okay, how thick do I want this bra to be, or this plated bra to be, whatever you want to call it. And as soon as you've decided on the size that you want it, how thick you want it to be, you can stop scaling it and just go ahead and click off. Alright, just continue on to the next video. This one's out of time, so I'll see you here in a second, guys.